Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. This is our last webinar for March, and we have RBC here, and Joel is here from RBC. Hi, Joel.
Hello.
So Joel is going to be telling us a little bit about how RBC can help you with starting your financial life in Canada, and he's got some great things to talk about, and we're looking forward to the webinar. Just to quickly tell you a little bit about ACCES, we've been around for over 30 years, servicing clients such as yourselves, job seekers that are looking for work. We work with over 2,000 employers to connect diverse talent such as yourself to meaningful employment in Canada. And we achieve all of this by providing employment services, linking employers to skilled people such as yourselves, and building strong networks in collaboration with our community partners. We deliver a variety of bridging programs as well. They are sector specific in finance, HR, IT, engineering, sales and marketing, supply chain, healthcare connections, and more. We have a lot of communications training, mentoring programs, a lot of programs for newcomer youth as well. So if you want to know more, check out our website and you'll see how many programs we deliver.
Well, thank you, Sonia, for giving us that introduction, and we really appreciate what Access Employment Canada do for and its staff do for everyone out there, especially for our newcomers. So thank you so much. Well, good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, everyone, wherever you may be at this moment. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Joel Likwanan. I am currently with RBC Bank as a regional advisor for cross-border banking. In fact, I joined RBC about 24 years ago, and I came from Philippines. So at one point, I was actually a new immigrant, a newcomer to Canada, and it's been a pleasure working with RBC to date. It's been a wonderful experience. Now, you might be asking me, what is it that I do at RBC as a regional advisor for cross-border banking? Just to let you know, I am capable. I am responsible for enablement of all our advisors and our leaders across, like branch leaders across Greater Toronto area and Southwestern Ontario. And if you think of number of branches, you're probably looking at about 300 branches, where I help build capabilities where required amongst our branch teams, and also create broader awareness in terms of our cross-border banking. When I say cross-border banking, just want to let you know we have like the RBC Royal Bank, which is in Canada, and we have RBC Bank, which is in the United States. So that's how I got to join you today. Is also because I have been volunteering with Access Employment Canada, and as a newcomer champion for our Greater Toronto area. Just to let you know, before I came to Canada, I was working with Philippine National Bank as a teller that time, and then I moved to Canada. During that time, it was recession. It was very difficult, and I started working at McDonald's, like a Shoppers Drug Mart, and then after a few months, I was able to join RBC, and from that time on, I moved on as an account manager, as a financial planner, as a branch manager, and then a regional sales coach, and now being a regional advisor. So great times for being with RBC. One of the things that I thought I'd also let you know is that with RBC, that's enough about myself. Now I'm going to talk about RBC. So Sonia, if you move to the next slide. Well, RBC is Canada's largest bank, and one of the largest banks in the world, in fact, based on market capitalization. We have over 80,000 employees, full and part-time employees, who serve more than 16 million personal, business, public sector, institutional clients through offices in Canada, the United States, and 36 other countries across the globe. And over to the next slide. One of the things that we are very, very proud of is actually the diversity and inclusion, being a key enabler in bringing to life RBC's purpose of helping our clients thrive and communities prosper. We truly believe by coming together and sharing our unique perspectives, we grow as an organization and as individuals. This helps, RBC attract and retain the best talent, and also it helps us better serve and meet the needs of our increasingly diverse client markets. We really value diversity and inclusion. One of the things that you should know is that we help our clients in over 200 languages, and our workforce has about 33% of visible minorities. I like, as you can see, I am part of that, and one of the things that I am really proud of, and that is something that is that that I truly that is very near and dear to my heart, is the fact that when I suffered from a major illness a few years ago. I think that was 11 years ago, or almost 12 years ago now. I actually suffered from a major illness that put me into a disability for a couple of years off work, and going into a wheelchair, going into a cane. I came back to work, and RBC has been very supportive of my return to work, and that's how we embrace diversity at RBC. Well, for everyone, information, I'm back into my normal routines now, and I've been very blessed to actually get rid of my cane about in 2012. And in fact, I managed to climb Mount Kilimanjaro a year after I got rid of my cane. So for those of you who know where that is, it's in Tanzania, Africa, and that was one of my major accomplishments. So there you go. And of course, because also the inspiration that RBC has in supporting me in terms of my work schedule, etc. So over to the next slide, we are going to start our presentation on helping you start your financial life in Canada. This is very important. When you are coming to Canada, actually, this is very good program that our partners ACCES Employment is doing, because when I came to Canada, 25 years ago, we didn't have anything like this, right? So you came into Canada, and then you are at a blind of what to expect, things that are different, and banking specifically, we might think that all banks are the same across the globe. Well, no, terminologies alone are a little bit of a challenge already. Like the jargons that are being used is already a bit of a challenge. So today, my goal is to help you start your financial life in Canada by being there and before you come into Canada, you already are seeing what are the key expectations that you may have when you come into Canada when it comes to banking. So on the next slide, we'll help you get established financially in Canada, so that when you get in here, you can focus on other things that are important to you. And we take care of the financial aspect of things for you. So on the next slide, we make banking easier for newcomers. This is one of the things that we have worked on so diligently, and we continue to improve on it for our newcomers. Making it easy is the key. First of all, Canadian credit history is not required when you want your first card, your credit card, when you want your first car, when you want your first home. This is one of the promises that we have for our newcomers. When I came to Canada 25 years ago, it was a challenge just getting a $500 credit card, and so this is one of the things that RBC listened to from clients, especially from our newcomers, is that I'm new to Canada, give me a chance and start me up with my first credit. We give you flexible bank account options, savings, and a discount through our RBC Newcomer Advantage program, which I'm going to be showing you to you later on. And of course, we have 24/7 service in your own language, 200 languages across the globe, and of course, online tools for easy access to managing your money, which is very important. Now, over into the next slide. Why do you need, one of the things that we always ask, like, well, why do I need a Canadian bank account? Well, for most of you or all of you, you probably would have a bank account in your right now in your own country or wherever you are, right? And that's very important. And one of the things that when you come to Canada, it's important for you to have a Canadian bank account is for your safety, so that you have a secure access to your money. You don't hold it in cash, right? Like when I first came to Canada, I was holding some cash, and I'm thinking, okay, so I need to find a bank to put this cash to. Well, we are going to make it. We made it easier for our newcomers because now we can even do that open account while you are still in your country. So we'll talk about that later on. And of course, when you come here, when you get here, you will start having bills, like phone bills, things like that, and also you will have the capability to transfer funds if you needed to. Okay, and on the next slide, we'll be talking about bank accounts that are available. So there's like most banks across the globe, we offer checking accounts. And if you notice, the spelling of checking account in Canada is with a QU, okay? And in some other countries, it's actually a CK, right? So if you see that there's a with a CK or with a QU, they're both correct, okay? So we start getting used to that. We also offer savings accounts with high interest. Through our high interest savings account, we offer US accounts in Canada, and we also offer US accounts that are domiciled in the States. So you can access that in your branches in Canada. You don't have to go to the States to actually open a US credit card that is domiciled in the States and a US account that is domiciled in the States. We will do it for you in Canada so that you can have access to it when you are traveling to the States. Of course, some of us have relatives in the United States, so from that time to time we may visit there, or shop or go for a vacation, or just cross the border because it's very convenient. Okay, so those are the things that you have in terms of account. Now on the next slide, I will talk about accessing your money. So how do you access your money? Like a lot of ways to access your money. The first thing is, of course, you can use a bank machine. You can go to a branch, right, to access your money. You can, but now there's so many other ways to access your money. So over to the next slide, you will be able to access your money as well using your client card in any of the stores in Canada. Almost all of the vendors, all the stores actually accept your client card, your debit card, for your purchases. Okay, so you can tap, you can insert your card and enter your PIN, your personal identification number, and be able to access funds by paying for the purchase that you made. In some stores, like most grocery stores nowadays, they actually even ask you if you want some cash back. So if you want, like, if you need some petty cash and say, well, I need about $20, $40, they actually will give that to you while buying your groceries. Okay, so those are some ways to access your money, and you can also transfer money to a friends via our email transfer, right? So if you went for lunch, or you bought something, you went to a movie and your friend paid for it and you want to pay it back to your friend, you can actually just email transfer that money, and in an instant they will have access to that and actually get into their bank account. So and of course those are secure transactions that you can have, because we make sure that we guarantee your safety and your the security of your money as well. And of course, over to the next slide, we have a lot of online tools so that we can make your banking even easier. Did you know that now you can even order, like when you are in online banking, you can even order foreign currency and cash and pick it up at any branch nearby or near you, anywhere and any branch that you may want to pick it up that is more convenient for you. So recently, I ordered, for example, some euro when I went to Europe, and I picked it up at one branch that is like walking distance from where I live, and it's very convenient. It tells you exactly what day it will be available. Other things that you can find in your online tools while you're in your online banking are calculators. I strongly recommend this when you get into Canada, when you have your online banking set up. I actually strongly recommend to look at all the tools available to you, like calculator for your savings when you want to buy a home, how much you mortgage you will need. There is a calculator for that. There is even your finance tracker so that it will track where you spend your money, right? So it's really cool, and you will find all that when you have your online banking set up as soon as you come to Canada to one of our branches. And of course, one of the other things that you can do, and it is now you are now able to do it online. Over the next slide is sending money overseas. That is very important to a lot of us because we still tend to send money to our family back home. I still do that. And in fact, recently I paid some dues over in Philippines by sending money overseas using online banking. I sent money remittance to a bank, and I did it through online banking. It's very convenient for me while I was sitting at home doing it, watching a TV or having my tea, right? And all of this, over to the next slide. One of the important things that you have to always remember is to protect yourself against fraud. You have heard so many different types of fraud that happen. So it's very important for you. It is both our responsibility that to protect ourselves against fraud. So you have a responsibility that we have a responsibility to do that in the bank to make sure that you yourself is being protected against those fraudsters. So one of the best way for you to do that is, of course, safeguard your banking information. Do not just share your banking information. It's specifically your personal identification number. No bank will actually, or any advisor or any agent will ask you for your personal identification number. So if they ask you to provide it to them, then that is a no-no. Okay, so you will never provide that unless you're entering it in a discreet manner. You keep your credit card safe because there will be times that it can get accessed, right? So when you are on vacation, for example, make sure that your credit card is always with you and not just lying around anywhere. And of course, be aware of those emails that are actually asking you to open things or asking you for your personal information. So those are phishing, right? So if you suspect phishing, do not just open it if you don't know who is the sender. One of the things that I become a habit that became my habit is every time I receive an email nowadays, I look at where it's coming from first, and if I don't recognize that email address, I do not open any of the attachment, or I don't even continue reading it. So be careful with opening all those attachments that come to you. Of course, there are many more information about protecting yourself at rbc.com/privacy security. So I would encourage you to go through that and I review some of those as well. Now let's talk about on the next slide. We're going to talk about how to build a good credit history in Canada. It's very important. A lot of us may think, oh, but why do I need a good credit history in Canada? Well, you will need it in terms of having some goals in the future that may require you to borrow. And so one of the ways for you to build a good credit history in Canada is on the next slide, having a Canadian credit card, of course, right? And so having a Canadian credit card will help you build your credit history and establish it. And there are so many ways that you can use a credit card. There are times that you can use it as an identification, right? So if you need a second identification card, for example, your credit card may be taken as an identification. it is of course safer than cash. How many of us have have traveled and we don't want to be carrying cash because you're always worried that it may get lost, and if it gets lost, you can't replace that cash immediately. While a credit card, when it gets lost, you may have a very limited liability, and you may be able to recoup what is lost by using that lost credit card, and of course by reporting it immediately. There are some instances wherein you can replace that credit card immediately, and some instances wherein it gets delivered to you even wherever you are, right? So there's so many ways for you that so many reasons why you need a credit card, especially a Canadian credit card. The convenience of it, the access of it, using it as an identification. Of course, it builds your Canadian credit history if you are making sure that you are paying it on time. And um, now RBC on the next slide actually makes it easier for you as newcomers to get a credit card. We do not even require you now to have a credit history. In the past, in newer earlier months in Canada, I was always told, well, we need your Canadian credit history for us to give you a credit card. Well, I don't have one because I just landed, right? And so how could I get that? And it was very difficult. Now we made it easier for you. We don't ask you for a Canadian credit. So when you get to Canada, you open an account at RBC, for example, we can get you a credit card immediately. There are some of our cards that even do not charge an annual fee, and of course we help you get your credit limits increased as your income grows. And for being newcomers in Canada, we can get you up to $2,000 right away in terms of credit cards, and you have a wide range of cards to choose from. That, of course, that will suit your needs, right? It's very important that it suits your needs. Otherwise, you will not use it if it doesn't suit your needs. Okay. Of course, another on the next slide, another way for you to actually um, establish your credit is by borrowing to meet your goals. There's so many of us who may have goals, and you may not have the immediate cash to finance that goal right away when you actually want that goal to be accomplished, in the short term or right away. And so one of those goals are actually buying a car. So if we look at the next page, next slide, we are looking at when we talk about buying a car, we talk about either financing a car on the next slide, or leasing a car. And so that's very important for you to determine the pros and cons of either financing a car or leasing a car. And you can speak to one of our advisors in the branches to ensure that you actually weigh, because every single person will have a different need. So this is another way for you to help you get your goal of getting a car, is to either finance it or lease it. You may also have, on our next slide, you may also have a goal of buying a home. I've I've seen a lot of our newcomers that immediately they talk about, like, when they sit down with their banker, they all start talking about buying a home. And please, if it's something that is a topic that was not included, for example, in your meeting with any of your bankers, raise it up. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be shy to actually ask about buying a home. There is a common perception there that, oh, I'm new, I shouldn't be thinking about that yet. No, it's the earlier you start thinking about these goals, the better for you, because then you can start strategies for you to be able to achieve that specific goal in a short time, right? So buying a home is very important for most of our newcomers, and that is something that you will need strategies on how to get it at low cost, how to get it sooner, how to actually pay it sooner, and of course making sure that you save throughout the time that you have borrowed for a home. Unless you're buying it for cash, then that's also great, right? And of course, when you borrow, over to our next slide, and I'm very on this is next slide, it's very near and dear to my heart, is insurance, protecting what is important. And I highlighted their creditor insurance. What is that? So if you hear about that creditor insurance, You're talking actually about insurance against that is on your loan, on your credit card, or on your home mortgage. And the reason why that is important is because just imagine, okay, just imagine you um, your income is interrupted or because of an illness or an injury, like what happened to me. You can wipe out all your savings to pay for the borrowings that you have if you do not have that creditor insurance. So that creditor insurance will actually cover for any of loan payments or mortgage payments or credit card monthly payments if you are on a disability because of an illness or an injury. So that is very important. It's a topic that is very dear and near to my heart because of what I experienced for 2 years not working. So my income was interrupted, and what's next, right? So you have a mortgage, you have loans, you have credit cards. Who's going to pay for that? Because those payments are coming from your regular income, and then suddenly it's gone. So I can go on and on with this, okay? Because it's very I'm very passionate about this topic because I experienced it, and it's something that you should be talking to your bankers about every time you are borrowing. Okay, if they don't raise it up, because but most of our advisors, all of our advisors at our RBC are actually well trained to make sure that this discussion comes up during the time that you're borrowing, or if you have any borrowing. Of course, on the next slide, you also want to save for a goal down the road, right? Not just borrow for a goal down the road, right? You also want to save your own money, your own cash, and to make sure that you're going to um, to reach your goals. For example, so on the next slide, um, if you have kids, or one day you will have kids, and you want to save for their education, one of the best ways for you to do that is actually through a registered education savings plan, wherein you can also get the support of the government for grants. So you contribute, and also government will put some money towards it as a grant. And so when your child or children go to school, in a specific university, for example, or college, then you will have that money for them to withdraw for their education. So that's one important way for you to save. And of course, you can save it monthly, you can save it bi-weekly, you can do it annually if you want, right? And of course, another way, another goal that you may have to save for on the next slide is actually saving for future retirement. So a lot of us think about how will I fund my retirement? So when I retire, I stop working, where will those money come from for me to sustain my living, my lifestyle, right? And so it could come from a registered retirement savings plan. And in Canada, it's very well known as an RRSP. So this is where, you know, a tax credit can be obtained by having this type of savings. And also it defers any taxes that you may pay. So until you withdraw this savings upon retirement. And so it's a good way to invest. And of course, there's also a TFSA. For those of you who have not heard that, it is a a savings wherein all the income are tax-free, and that's the reason why it's tax-free savings account. Okay, TFSA. And also, so so for RRSP, you have to earn an income in order for you to be able to save an RRSP. For TFSA, you do not have to earn an income. There's no requirement for you to earn an income to invest in a TFSA. You can start it at any time. You can either invest monthly or bi-weekly or weekly into this type of investment. And of course, we also have guaranteed investment certificate, or GICs, in some of our countries. We call them term deposit or term investments. Okay, so these are what you call the guaranteed income investment, wherein you get a guaranteed interest rate and there's no fluctuation. Okay, so other things that you can think of is that when you're investing with any of those, there are many other avenues to invest in, and there's so many ways, so many funds, so many vehicles that you can choose. And of course, your banking advisor will help you navigate through that, and based on your needs, okay? And of course, based on your investment profile as well, or what kind of investor you are. So we just want you to know that we are here for you as your banker, as your partner, in order for you to be able to meet your someday, your goals in the future, your immediate needs, and anything else that you want to do in the future. We are your partners at RBC. We are Canada's largest bank, and of course, we have the largest combined branch and ATM networks across Canada at the same time. As I mentioned earlier, we have over 200 languages, 24/7 access to your money. You can talk to anybody. You can do it online, mobile. The credit and banking solutions, we always tailor it to your needs, based on how we know what we know about you, and what you tell us. We will help you with that. So we are here to help you, to support you, to give you guidance and advice, and walk with you in your journey towards your goals. One of the things that makes me very proud as well, in the last couple of years, is that we have been um, Canada's, when it comes to client satisfaction, we are actually the number one in Canada. So that is one of the things that we are very, very proud of. So the highest in customer satisfaction among the big five retail banks. And so I am looking forward to actually having you experience this when you arrive in Canada. And I also hope that I will meet some of you, or all of you, if that's possible, when you arrive in Canada. Okay, so don't be strangers.
Please feel free to contact RBC. They should be definitely able to answer all of your questions. If not, you can write to us at onlineservices@accessemployment.ca, and we'll try our best to answer your questions. I'm just going to forward them over to Joel, and then Joel can answer them for you. But again, the best thing for you to do is to contact RBC. You can go on their website. You can talk to people on their website as well. There's, ask for help section. It's very user friendly, so I'm sure that you'll get a lot out of it. So Joel, did you want to say anything before I took over?
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for taking this time to attend this webinar, and I'm really pleased I will be pleased to meet all of you if possible in the future when you come here, and let me welcome you. Okay, so thank you, Sonia, for giving us this opportunity.
Oh no, thank you for coming on. And I'm just going to get you to stay on for a little while longer so I can just go over the next few slides.
Sure.
So everyone, when you do come to Canada, when you go to RBC, ask for Joel. But I just wanted to say that you could check out our e-access. So it's basically our online resource center, and we do have our past RBC webinars on there as well for you to check out, along with other things such as resume builders, job search tips, interview questions, and a lot more that's coming. We try to update that as much as we can during the month. Our next webinar will be starting in April, when we're starting our April online event series. The first one is on April 4th. It's called Job Search 101, Defining Your Personal Brand, and it is by a representative at Robert Half. And she's been with us before, and we've got a great feedback from her about her, so that's why we're bringing her back on. And she's actually doing 2 next month, so stay tuned for that one. And you can also sign up and register for it at accessemployment.ca online event series. Another thing, if you are interested in, if you are landing in Canada soon, you may be eligible to take our Canadian Employment Connections program. It is free of charge, and if you want to know more about it, you can either check out our website, or you can email cec@accessemployment.ca for more information. Again, thank you for your participation. If you do want to connect with us at ACCES, you can connect with us through Twitter, LinkedIn, or Facebook. And we are very active on our social media, and we post all our upcoming online and in-house events, so stay tuned for those. Again, thank you so much for participating. There is a survey at the end of the webinar. We'd love for you to fill it out, and so we can hear about what you thought of us. And we have a few questions from RBC as well, so we'd love to hear from you. Again, thank you, Joel, for joining us, and everyone, thank you very much. I wish you all a very good day or a good night.